Hey YouTubers, this is the GSTV reviewer coming at you with another video for you guys today. So I just want to come up on here and give out my thoughts about Casey Kasem and the impact that he had in the entertainment industry. This also marks the 5th anniversary since his death back in 2014. So I just want to come up on here and give out my thoughts considering about this legendary personality host. And for those that are watching this video, some of you youngsters have no idea who Casey Kasem is. He was a former radio disc jockey that was the original host of a popular radio countdown show that's still going on to this day, that being American Top 40, which launched in July of 1970. Now, he would actually have hosted American Top 40 on two different eras or two different phases of that particular run of American Top 40 from 1970 when it launched up until 1988. And he would return to host American Top 40 10 years later from 1998 to 2004 when he would be replaced by Ryan Seacrest. In addition to that, he also hosted other spin-off countdown shows such as Casey's Countdown, American Top 20, and American Top 10. Three of those spin-off countdowns were more based on some of the more popular adult contemporary songs of the time. And he would continue to host some of the adult contemporary spin-off shows until his retirement in 2009. And outside of that, he also did some cartoon voice acting work in various animated shows, most notably his best known role being Shaggy in Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And various other Scooby-Doo incarnations from the 70s, 80s. But he would return in What's New Scooby-Doo from 2002 up until 2005 or 2006. He's also did some voiceover work in other cartoons besides Scooby-Doo, most notably Transformers, Skyhawks, Catanuga Cats, Josie and the Pussycats, Tiny Toon Adventures, Hysteria, Two Stupid Dogs. He even made guest appearances on like Saved by the Bell on two different occasions. He also appeared on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Beverly Hills 90210, and a couple other shows to make note of. Ironside, Hawaii Five-O, and even Hong Kong Phooey as far as cartoons are concerned. He's definitely done a lot in the entertainment industry, not just being a radio disc jockey, but also as an actor as well. And Casey Kasem, one of the things I really loved about his time hosting some of these countdown shows, like especially when it came to American Top 40, is that he would provide a lot of these interesting trivia regarding about a certain artist or a certain band member and some of the upbringings of their career and how they got to where they are. And I really like the way that he kind of delivers his lines and the information that he provides regarding about a said artist and some of the process that they had to go through when it comes to making music. So the way he just kind of brings himself into kind of makes you want to invest in this particular band or this particular solo artist, even if it's an artist that you honestly don't care for, or if it's an artist that you're not too familiar with, he'll definitely back it up with the information regarding about the said artists and how they got to where they are. And that's kind of one of the things I really loved about Casey Kasem. In addition to that, he'll also do like these long distance dedications, which started in 1977. It was definitely somewhere in the late 70s when he started doing long distance dedications with some of these local callers that come in to kind of place a request or of a song that they want to dedicate a song to a loved one or a close friend or a relative, and then he would basically like read out these letters. Now, bear in mind, I mean, this was a time before social media, so back in the days, you had to like actually write in a letter to Casey Kasem and American Top 40 to provide that long distance dedication, because it was definitely a different time back in those days when he was hosting not just American Top 40, because he also did this with like Casey's Countdown and American Top 20, American Top 10. So he would also do those long distance dedications also on those shows as well. And it would come up with like various different topics like losing hope or contemplating on suicide because of a falling out that you had with a close friend or a close mate that you used to be in a relationship with. I mean, it's something along those lines. Those are just some notable examples of those long distance dedications. As far as like some of the trivia that Casey Kasem would provide, now back in those days, you didn't have the internet. Like, you couldn't just look up on information regarding about this band and artist and some of their origin story on how they started and some of the struggles that they had to go through, like finding a particular record label company. And, I mean, back in those days, like, whenever Casey Kasem would provide an interesting trivia on some of these band members or some of these like solo artists, what have you, he would definitely go out there and provide a lot of that information to the listeners that are listening to what's been going on in American Top 40. Maybe a magazine or two, but other than that, I mean, whenever you would hear Casey Kasem talk about this band member or this certain solo artist, it would be kind of like, treated as a huge deal. It's like, oh, wait, I didn't know that. And like I said, I mean, at that time, it was very groundbreaking. Also, in addition to that, he would count down some of the top popular songs at the time, like from numbers 40 to number 1. And he would do like a bit of like a recap of some of the popular songs that were at the top 3, like from last week. And then this week is like, will this song maintain the number 1 spot? And there's only one way to find out, and let the countdown begin. So that would be also a recurring theme that would go on during his run. It wasn't just radio, but also on television, because he also, by the time he got to the 80s, he also hosted American Top 10. He hosted the American Video Awards from 1983 to 1987. Now, bear in mind, by the time you got to the 80s, music videos were such a huge thing at the time, because not long prior to this, MTV launched, in 1981, and it really helped expose some of these bands and some of these music artists that were really trying to break through in the industry. And you also have the introduction of these very artistic music videos that you would see. And, Casey Kasem would also be the host of the American Video Awards throughout those 4 to 5 years. Music videos back in those days were, it was very groundbreaking for the time. When it came to some of his hostings, Casey Kasem just had a really great voice and really got you instantly hooked into what he has to say. It's really a shame that he's no longer with us. And, granted, life goes on. But he's definitely left a large impact in the entertainment industry as far as his legacy is concerned. I have all the respect for Casey Kasem, and, Ryan Seacrest would eventually take over the hosting duties for American Top 40. And, Seacrest is good for what he is. I'm not necessarily like a huge fan of his style, because he's like more of like the celebrity gossip type of host that would just provide updates on what's going on in Hollywood and stuff that more or less of the time doesn't really have anything to do with the music. So I think that's kind of one gripe that I have with Seacrest, like, with all due respect to Ryan. But there was actually a time before he officially took over that he did provide as a guest host for American Top 40. And you could definitely find that in the archives on YouTube. You could just type it around somewhere. I thought he wasn't bad when he guest hosted some of those AT40 episodes before he officially took over. Premier Radio Networks, which were the company that was helping produce this countdown show, would eventually revamp the show into kind of like a more of a variety type of show, like something you would see on like Access Hollywood, but on the radio, but with American Top 40 implemented, taking into account that this is a music countdown. I mean, I thought he did fine when he substituted Casey Kasem for maybe a few episodes here and there. Casey Kasem would go on to continue his duties on some of the other spin-off shows with the Adult Contemporary, American Top 20, American Top 10, until his retirement in 2009. And we are actually approaching on the anniversary of his last show, which I believe is coming in the next month, which is really hard to believe, because I was hoping that, even back in 2009 when he did the 39th anniversary of American Top 40, that he was going to at least make it to like one more year. But turns out that wasn't the case, and his health wasn't, he wasn't necessarily in the best shape at that point, and you could really tell like the last like episode that he did, it's like you could tell he was getting up there in age, and he wasn't quite the best shape that he was in, but he managed to continue to host the show for this long as he has been, and at the same time, I just got to give props to him. Really made the most out of that last show. And another thing that I really loved about when he was closing American Top 40 is that he would count down like the number one song, and he would have like that drum roll in the background, and he would like talk over about this particular artist and this particular song, and then how it kind of culminates into this number one song that's on the countdown for the week. And then he would do that little drum roll in the background, and he would list whatever song that's number one at the moment. Afterwards, he would close out American Top 40 with, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, keep your dial tune right where it is, and basically close the show from there. He even definitely came out of retirement when he provided the voiceover work of Shaggy's father, which I thought that was pretty cool, because by this point, Matthew Lillard took over the voice acting work for Shaggy, and he had done the live action Scooby-Doo movies from the early 2000s, so he would reprise his Shaggy voice in the cartoon series, which he's still doing to this very day. Casey Kasem managed to return and even got to pass the torch from him to Matthew Lillard. He definitely went out on a high note, I would say. So that's overall, I definitely feel that Casey Kasem's definitely lived a long life, and I thought he really brought a lot of charisma and just brought like a whole lot of charm to his duties, and especially his contributions to the entertainment industry. So that's basically my thoughts on Casey Kasem in general. Till next time, this is the GSTV viewer signing out. May you rest in peace.